Like I said, look at this guy. Freaking, he's iced up with jewelry on his fingers, but this guy truly is the Iceman. Like Alex Winters. Like I said, it's not every day that you get to sit in front, be on a training with a guy that is consistently year after year installing 100 accounts. But Alex does it, man. He does it at such a consistent high level. It's funny. I read these numbers every single week, and Alex, he's not the always the top guy week after week on the sales or the installs. Sometimes he doesn't crack the top five, but I can promise you he always is hovering around like seventh place, eighth place, somewhere around there. He is just always consistent week after week. He's there. You don't see him go and just crush it one week and then disappear for a few weeks. He is the definition of consistency. The guy works harder than anybody else, and he is building. He's growing. He's now crushing it in a new market this year. But we are excited to learn from him. And the reason why he's crushing it this year is because his work ethic is staying the same. He's consistent. But Alex, I don't think we have slides for you this year, but thank you for just being willing to come in and talk to us and tell us, a little bit what you have and what makes you sell and be the MVP year after year.
No problem, Tyler. Can you hear me okay? I'm in my car right now, so just kind of making sure.
We got you, man. Yeah, thank
Sweet.
you.
We should remove that slide real quick. That's a terrible picture of me. I didn't get a haircut that day because of Chris. That was Chris's fault. So, uh, but yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Hey, people
For
are just
those of you
looking at
that
the rings, dog. Nobody even looks at the haircut. They're just focused on those rings that you got.
for those of you guys that don't know me, my name's Alex Winters. I'm 24 years old. I actually just came from Chicago. I'm now currently selling in California, and so this is like I think my fourth year in solar. But yeah, I'll kind of keep this short and sweet. I just want to talk about a few things that I feel like I think about every single day. If you're like me, a lot of people on this call, or at least the majority of people on this call, are in a position where if they don't sell and they don't install jobs, you're not making money. And so um, I depend on, 90%, 95% of my income from my sales. And so throughout the course of the year, consistency and persistence is definitely something I focus on. And so there's two things I want to talk about. Number one is a little bit of my mindset. And then number two is just kind of how I streamline my process, closing, setting, with my foundation of guys to kind of be super efficient throughout the course of the year um, and the summer. And so a lot of the stuff that you guys will hear me say today, just being transparent and honest, you've definitely heard before. I like to replicate my process on guys that have done this for 3 to 4 years, that have had 500 to 1,000 installs, because at the end of the day, I'm not here to recreate the wheel. The success has already been established. There's plenty of people out there that are doing this every single day at a high level. And when I first got into this industry, my goal is just to be a sponge and replicate what these top guys are doing. And so a lot of the stuff that I'll say, you definitely heard on a podcast before, you've heard somebody talk about, and these are just lines and tactics that have stuck with me that I incorporate in my process every single day. And so um, as far as recreating the wheel goes, I'm fortunate that, I'm with a tight group of guys that works every single day. And throughout the course of the week, I feel like if I'm not on the doors or working or going to appointments 5 or 6 days a week, I'm not able to hit my metrics. And so, number one, I always try to put myself in an environment, with a group of guys that are willing to work every single day. Why? Because that's 99% of the job, actually putting yourself in a situation where you can close deals, go to appointments. I talk to people in this industry and I'll ask them questions like, hey, when are you working? When are you doing this? And they're like, oh, I have this birthday party. I'm going out this week. I'm doing this. And they're giving me all these answers when they know the work that they're supposed to be doing. They're just not doing. And so I really emphasize, like, try to put yourself in a position, in an environment where the guys that you work every single day. You have appointments that you can hit every single day. Put yourself in an environment where people are actually working. That's the hardest part of this job. And so I feel like throughout the course of the year, that's what I'm constantly doing, just to make sure I'm in motion. Because selling's easy if you're doing it every single day, but when you stop for 2 to 3 weeks, it's really hard to get that momentum going again. Michael Donald says a salesman on the couch 15 minutes later is still on the couch. Like, that line is stuck with me, when I read that book 2 or 3 years ago, no matter what. Like, if you're on a door or you're in an appointment, it is 10 times easier to get to another appointment or another door versus if you're at home or if you're on the couch, you're just staggering your success. I mean, it's huge. Second thing I'm going to talk about is just kind of my process and how I've kind of dialed it in. Whether it's on the doorstep or in a home. I feel like when I was first starting, a lot of the things I wanted to know were, hey, what are guys saying inside of the house? Like, what are these guys saying to get these homeowners sign up? Like, what is everybody saying to get this glass installed on the roof? And I feel like a lot of people don't like sharing their secrets, which is fine. But I'll kind of talk about what I kind of say, and it's similar to what a lot of the other top performers do. But just to start off, so depending on what market you're in, depending if you're setting or closing, when you're on the doorstep and you're talking to a homeowner, whether it's you show up to an appointment or you're inside of a house, the biggest thing that I try to do is problem solving. So I always start off with a problem, whether I'm sitting at the kitchen table or if I'm on the doorstep, if I'm going to an appointment and I'm trying to break the idea of solar, like this big preoccupation that they have. So I'll kind of start off by saying, let's use APS for an example. If I'm looking at an APS bill and a homeowner brings a bill and I'm looking at their bill, I just kind of ask them like, hey, Jeff, like, hey, Mr. Homeowner, are you guys familiar with how you buy power right now? And they go, yeah, I just buy it from the utility company, or no, I have no idea. So that little thing on the side of your house, it's called the meter. Every time your meter spins, you guys buy a kilowatt hour from APS. Any idea what price per kilowatt hour you're charged right now? Like, do you guys study your electric bill? Ha 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 ha. No, I don't. Right. Okay. If you're like most of the families I work with, they just kind of do auto pay, look away. They don't really study their bill. So I just want to show you guys something real quick. Just to switch gears. Every time your meter spins one way, you guys buy a kilowatt hour from APS. Now, the problem in which we're doing right now, if you look at your bill, you guys average anywhere from 18 cents to 36 cents per kilowatt hour. And then I'll ask, well, Mr. Homeowner, what type of agreements do you have with APS on your rate? What type of protection do you guys have? Right? None. Right. And so right now I'm throwing the homeowner softballs. Like, I'm getting them to acknowledge that there's a problem in their current situation right now, because without a problem, without pain, there's no gain. Without a problem, there's no solution. And so just to switch gears real quick, Mr. Homeowner, how long have you guys been in the home for? Okay, cool. You guys are familiar with time of use, right? This is crazy. So you guys retired how long ago? 10 years? Okay, so you're a professional golfer now, huh? Ha 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 ha. Just kidding. For people that are home more between the hours of 4 to 9, APS is now charging the highest rate possible. So if you're retired, or if you get off of work after a long day and you just want to turn the air conditioner on and watch TV, you're actually buying power at the most expensive price. And so the reason, Jeff, we're doing so many of these right now, and the reason so many of your neighbors are switching to a battery backup is not only do you have no protection on your rate right now, but if you're living in your home between the hours of 4 to 9, they're actually charging you the highest price. And so our whole goal essentially is, now if the home qualifies, we can essentially use your roof as a power plant where you produce cheaper power at any type of day, where what your rate's going to be for as long as you live in the home. Now, guys, just to note real quick, and this has helped me out a ton. When you're talking to a homeowner, people will only believe 50% of what you say. They'll believe 70% of what their neighbors say, and 100% of what? Of what they say, of what they tell themselves. Yep. And so it's my job, this entire process that I have tailored to be super efficient. I'm throwing the homeowner softballs. I'm asking them questions that I know the answer to, because I want them to establish that there's a problem in which they're doing right now. They just don't realize it yet. 99% of the time, the people that you guys are sitting with, the reason they haven't gone solar yet is because of two things. They either don't trust you, or they just don't want to deal with it. Like, they're procrastinators. It's just like buying a home. Like, your realtor's there to help you and push you to get this done. And so I've tailored my process. So, just to switch gears real quick, like, hey, Jeff, like, you guys have a really nice home. You guys can afford Tempe, Arizona. You probably like having control of your money, right? Yeah. But what is your electric bill 5 years from now? What does it cost you to buy power from APS? Any idea? You have no idea. You can't know. And that's why we have so many people doing this right now, because we have no idea what our rate's going to be for our largest recurring expense. Like, you guys are always going to use power, right? You're never going to switch to candles, but what does it cost you to power your home, your car, your air conditioner 5 years from now? And so, these basic questions, like, I'm not getting super in depth with how solar works, like, because I don't really want them to know how solar works. I want them to understand that, hey, the only way they buy power right now, like APS, APS doesn't need to earn your business. They're never going to call you and say, we're going to upgrade your electrical panel and lower your rate 15 cents. Like, that's why so many people are looking into this program right now. Like, now, obviously, guys, like, pull back. The home has to qualify. So, like, today, I'll kind of show you guys your preliminary design, show you what the design looks like, show you guys what the qualifications are. But my job is to have my engineer come out, just look at the roof, look at the trusses, make sure your electrical panel's in good shape to support this battery. Like, it's super simple. You guys are probably going to want to do this, but the home has to qualify. And so, yeah, just asking these homeowners questions, kind of leading them to the solution, is what I primarily focus on. Obviously, an easy close leads to a few things. Number one, the right questions that you're asking, but two, these people have to feel good about the deal, or else they're not going to get installed. And so that's what I'm focusing on this year a lot. I'm going to site surveys. I'm following up with homeowners when I get their final design. I just saved a cancel yesterday by showing up to the homeowner's house. And his biggest objection on why he wasn't answering my texts is, he's like, is the price negotiable? I'm like, yeah, we can lower your rate $10. And now he's down, right? And so I feel like this year, because a lot of these laydowns and low-hanging fruit are gone, what we need to focus on primarily is giving people way more than what they expect, being proactive throughout the course of the process, throughout the install, throughout permits, and actually showing up, after the site survey, talking to these homeowners, figuring out what their concerns, their objections are, because that will lead to higher realization rates and more glass installed on the roof. And so, last question I kind of ask to really hammer in, the final idea of solar is, Mr. Homeowner, obviously, you've kind of seen why people put these panels up. You've seen why people go solar, but I just want to ask you a few questions real quick. APS, right? They're not exactly a charitable organization, right? They're what we call an investor-owned utility. Their main goal is what? Profit, right? So if you're an investor and you invest in a power company, like, what do you expect every single year? Dividends, money, right? So if you're APS and you control everybody's rates in Tempe, and you handle distribution, taxes, fees, and surcharges, do you charge more or less over time? More, right? Softballs. So I'm leading them to the right answer. And if you charge more, what do you think more families do? They go solar, right? Just like you guys. They look for alternative solutions. They look for other ways to get power to their home. And when more families go solar and APS loses money, what do they do to everybody else's rates? They charge more, right? And you guys get it, right? And it's awesome that you guys get it, because I have so many families that ask me, like, Alex, like, what happens if power prices go down? And it's hard not to laugh just because they've never gone down, and you guys get it, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm reaffirming that they get it. Like, hey, like, you guys are super cool. Like, you understand this program, and there's so many families that don't get it, but it's this big circle, right? APS raises rates, more families go solar. More families go solar, APS loses money, they charge more. It's this big circle. And that's why so many people are doing this right now. And sometimes I'll even draw that circle out for them, just to get them to understand that you guys are going to go solar at some point. It's just a matter of time. And this is the final line I'll hit them with. I go, time is the only equation with rates going up, right? So if time is the only equation with utility companies charging more, let's take time out of the equation now and lock your rate in. Like, it's literally a no-brainer. Like, I want you guys to be excited about it, because if you're not excited about it, you're not going to do it. But it should be a no-brainer. Like, can you guys see how this will benefit your situation? And they say yes. Boom. Okay, well, the first step is the site survey. I'll get my engineer out here to look at your roof, essentially see if you guys qualify for it. I'll be in touch with you to get your final design back to you guys. And then from there, we'll enter permits. It's super simple if you guys make it super simple. If you make it super complicated, it's going to be super complicated. The reason I compare their utility company to what solar is going to be is it makes it super simple and something they can understand, so that when they go solar, it's not this huge decision that they're making. Because if it's a huge decision, they're going to have to what? They're going to have to think about it. They're going to have to talk to their lawyer, their dentist, whoever. And that's not my job. My job is to make this super simple and to get the process started, not to make them think about it. And so, yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for you as far as the streamlined process goes. The last thing I'll just kind of go over is just mindset. Like, obviously, summer's approaching. And so my job is to put myself in a situation where I can hit home runs every single day. And that's by working 5 to 6 days a week. And so I'm not doing anything special. I'm just like everybody else, that's competent and that's closing at a high rate. I just put in the hours. And when you put in the hours, it makes this job, 10 times easier. And so I appreciate it. Follow me on Instagram __ Iceman Winters if you guys want to connect, whatever. Nice talking to you, boys.
Bro,
Fire, Winters.
that was so good, man. Put yourself in situations where you can hit home runs every day. I love that, man. 5 to 6 hours a day, you're crushing it. Guys, I hope you guys took some notes on that. Man, he keeps it simple. He lobs softball so that the customers are selling themselves. But I hope you guys saw how assumptive Alex is as well. Like, this is a no-brainer. He never asked them for it. Like, let's take time out of the equation and let's lock in your rate right now. It's a no-brainer. We need to just do this. Here's the next steps and let's move forward. But man, Alex, like, that was, I know we're going to put this on our YouTube page. Guys, go back and please, like, listen to that. That was fire. I know there wasn't slides, but man, that was like 10 to 15 minutes of straight gold from a guy that is doing it at the highest level in the industry. So we are super lucky. We're blessed to be at the pros where our leadership and our talent is higher than anywhere else. Anywhere else. And you guys just got 15 minutes, 20 minutes from a guy doing it at a higher level than anybody else. So please go back, listen to what he had to say. There was a lot of nuggets in there. Alex, you're the man. Go hit some more home runs, man. I know you will. You put yourself in that position every day, and we appreciate how hard you work, and we appreciate your example and the leader you are. So thank you. That's it, guys. Let's continue to crush it. Realization rate's up. Recruiting's up. We're nailing it, guys. Appreciate you guys. Let's have a good week.